Do you ever feel like sometimes you're just going through the motions? Like life is just going by day by day by day by day, and nothing is like actually, progressing. Or maybe you feel like life is in autopilot. Well, stick around because in today's video, we're going to share with you how to live your life by design and not by default. Let's get it, Celia.
Gotta take what's burning from deep down within out into the world so the healing can begin. Created for greatness, don't let anything get in the way. Realize with your real life, you'll affect the world in a major way. Time to make a difference and show the world what you're all about. Live life with passion, fire it up from the inside out.
Come on, y'all. Come on. Yep, get fired up. Yep, get fired up from the inside out. Welcome to my channel. I'm Bro Rod, the inspiration guy, here to inspire healthy lifestyle changes that go from the inside out. Welcome to the channel. If this is your first time come to the channel, thank you for just taking your time first and foremost to be with us today. If you find any value in today's video, do me a favor, consider joining the tribe and clicking subscribe on the link below. And if you're one of the faithfuls, welcome back. Thank you again for tuning in. So this is the live stream. Again, this will be available on the replay, but whether you watch it on the live stream or the replay, do me a favor and just drop a comment and let us know where you are tuning in from. I love seeing, people dropping comments. We've had people from the Bronx, LA, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Washington. So super excited just to know that this channel is providing a little bit of value for each and every one of you. So today we have a very special guest, a guest who I met through the gym here in Dixon and actually Vacaville. And today we're talking about, like earlier, and when I said in the intro, I was like, do you ever feel like you're just living life and you're just going through the motions over and over, day in and day out, right? I felt like that, especially like early on during this whole global pandemic. There was times where I was just going through my days to the point where I even like forgot what day of the week it was. If that was you, type in the comments. That's me, right? Because again, once you get into like that autopilot mindset, like you just keep going through the days until you actually like gotta really wake up and break the cycle. And so this week we've been talking about, on the first live stream, we were talking about that, evaluating the experience that you have in your life, taking time to really like look at what you've been doing and evaluating it so that you can figure out what are the gaps, how can you get better. And then yesterday we talked about the idea that the only thing permanent in life is change. And I shared 3 different ways, right? Identify, evaluate, and take control when it comes to the things that we, the changes that happen in our life, and just realizing what I realize there's going to be some things in our life that we just can't control. And to not put any energy into that, because again, that's let the chips fall where they're going to fall. And right. So we're taking just this idea. And so when I was thinking of, okay, today's live stream and today's video, I was thinking like, who's someone who I know that has evaluated their experience and maybe plans didn't go as as they hoped, but still came out on top and are doing really well for themselves. And so I thought of a friend, and her name is Victoria. I'm going to bring her on in just a second. And just to give a little background, again, we met through the gym, and when we got to know each other a little bit more, she was sharing some of her story and it inspired me. And so I definitely know that if it inspired me, it'll definitely inspire you. So with that, y'all, I want to go ahead and bring on my good peeps. Actually, let's try a different beat. Yeah. So coming at you again, Northern California. I definitely consider her a local hero because everything that she stands for and everything she's about. So let's give it up for Victoria, y'all. Yo, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. So thank you for again being on FTIO, where we're all about inspiring healthy lifestyle changes from the inside out. So Victoria, without further ado, let me go ahead. I'm just going to get you on a solo shot here so you can just introduce yourself, share a little bit about who you are, what you do, what you're about, all that good stuff.
Well, good morning. First of all, I want to say I love your intro song, and I love mine too. So thanks for that. So I am a State Farm insurance agent in Vacaville. I've had my business for 11 years. Um, I am a mom of two, a 7 year old and an almost 6 year old. And I have been married for 10 years, maybe 11. I'm not exactly sure yet, but something like that. So yeah, just all the things, just work, mom, wife, all the things.
Absolutely. And are you a Bay Area native? Do you originate out here or?
Yeah, yeah. So I was born in the Bay Area, and I grew up in Fairfield actually, and started, like I said, started my business in Vacaville, and just recently moved to Dixon 5 years ago. So
Okay. Well,
that's
let's shout out your high school. What high school did you go to?
Armio,
Armio. So all the Armio Indians, if you're an Armio Indian and you're
always an
watching the
Indian,
live stream, go ahead
always an Indian.
and go ahead and type in the comments A team, right? So I know my daughter went there for a few years. It was about the A team. So okay, so from Fairfield, so you're born in the Bay Area, grew up in Fairfield, and then yeah, one thing that when we first connected and you were sharing like your story, like I didn't know anything about like insurance agents and realizing it's kind of like that broker real like broker I'm not even gonna say see the relationship where like there's actually one actual agent and then there's like agents under. Can you explain how that works at
Right.
the branch?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So it's a little different from like the broker model, because with a broker, you have uh, you have one person that shops different companies for you. So I'm not a broker. I'm a captive agent, meaning that I only have the ability to provide insurance and financial services through State Farm. I have a team of three licensed, fully licensed individuals. And then I also have a part time administrative assistant that kind of supports all of our back office doings. So that's the model. So everyone on my team is completely fully licensed, just the way I am. So one of the things that I think is important to understand is that even though my name's on the website, my name's on the door, it's not me. It's definitely not me. It takes an entire team to do what we do, and I'm so thankful that I've had the ability to be blessed with a team that I've had for a really long time. And that's not something that a lot of State Farm agents, I can't speak for other insurance companies, but it's not something that a lot of State Farm agents can really say that they've had a team, for as long as I have. So I'm really blessed from the standpoint that I have a great support system behind me, not only from a business standpoint, but also from a family standpoint. And if you follow me on any of my social media platforms, you know that I have a very close relationship with everybody in my family. And I think that's just what's important. That's what keeps us going. That's what I mean. Right now, what more? What have we learned? What do we learn from all of this? We've learned that family and friends, that's what's keeping us going right now. And so, I kind of got off on a tangent with respect to, I know we were talking about the business, and I really consider my team my family. So no friends, all family.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. And I think, that spirit of family and Ohana doesn't mean that it's perfect, but it just means that, we might have some times we're going to have some rough patches, but like with all family, we're going to do this together. And I think that's definitely a value that I take into, all the realms of work that I do, AKA Bro Rye, right?
Right,
Bro
right.
Rye, the inspiration guy, like the idea is like, I want us to be Ohana. I want us to be family.
Mhm.
I want to be that little brother or that older brother or, the nephew that's like, I want to be like in that way with you, even if we just met for the first time, because if we approached life in that sense, where again, a mindset is that it's not perfect, right? I'm not looking for a hookup or anything like that, but I
No.
am saying like, we're going to go through, but if we stick together, right? And I know a hashtag, one of my friends used to always use is family, we all we got, right? And I think that in certain situations, that's true. And it's something that my wife posted about, one of her friends for her birthday, she put, friends, and we've learned, we learned this way back when, but it was like friends are your chosen family. So if we
Yes.
take a moment and really think about like our friendships, if we use that term, are your friends that you currently have your chosen family? Like, would you consider them chosen family or not? And that again, right, is inspiring to me because it was like, okay, now let's regroup, let's reevaluate. And again, there's people that we're acquaintances with, people that we're cool with, but I love that that family aspect. So let's go back into this. Like, so how you even got into financial services? Like, let's be honest, were you at Armio talking about, yeah, I'm about to be a State Farm agent? Like, was that how it
No.
worked out? Can you just share with us like how you decided that this is the route that you were going to take, or if there was a
Yeah.
different route before that?
Well, let me tell you, I definitely wasn't at Armio talking about I'm going to be a State Farm agent. I was at Armio talking about how do I get 3 periods and get out of here. So yeah, that wasn't happening. And I think when we first met and had the opportunity to just like really have a conversation, that was when I shared with you that I don't. When you're in preschool or kindergarten and you do the whole career day, what do you want to do when you grow up? Nobody says insurance agent unless you're my daughter, because how else would you know about it? um, Really, my intentions, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't a school person. You know Staying there for 6 classes, that was definitely a struggle. So to have gone not only through that, graduated, but I also went on to college. I think that's pretty shocking to even me, because like I said, I wasn't a school person, but I knew that I had to do something. Whether, bottom line is I had to do something if I was going to still live at home. So I actually went into school with the idea that I was going to be an attorney. Um, I don't know. I don't know why. I guess because I like to argue. I don't know. But that was the intentions. And I even went as far as to take the law school entrance exam and the admissions test. Didn't work out. Clearly, it didn't work out. But everybody has a purpose. Everybody has a path, whether or not it's the path that you think that you're going to take, or if it's the path that you end up on. But the bottom line is everybody has a purpose. And so essentially what I discovered is my purpose was insurance and financial services, and I learned that pretty quick into my college career, because I had um, I had worked for an insurance company, just completely random. This is back when people used to go to the newspapers to find jobs. I had seen an ad that there was an insurance company out there that was offering a license. I didn't know what that meant, but I knew that the more credentials that you have, the more licenses, the more things that you have behind your name, it's probably a good thing. So I applied, and it was a really, really amazing experience from the standpoint that it gave me the ability to not only work full time, because it was an insurance company that was based off of the out of the East Coast in White Plains, New York. And so with the time change, I had the ability to work a full time schedule. So I was, 19 years old, working 5 to 2, because in New York, 5 a.m. is 8 a.m., which is when businesses open. So I had a great opportunity to work full time and go to school full time. I graduated from Sacramento State, and at the time they called that a commuter school. So I assume maybe that's still what they call it. But the working in the for the insurance company, it gave me a really good opportunity to, like I said, be able to do both, because I'm always a person, even now, I have to have a lot of things going on. And that's not to glorify the hustle. That's not to say that. It's just to say that I've always been somebody who just has ideas and wants to take the next step. So to be able to work full time and go to school full time, for me, it was perfect. So I worked there for 5 years. Yeah, took me 5 years to graduate college. Don't judge. Um,
All good.
and And then, so throughout that 5 years, I had the opportunity to kind of work my way up to a management or leadership position. And then they shut down the whole operation, and they were going to only have offices in White Plains and Connecticut. Well, as I mentioned, I'm a huge family person. To be honest with you, when I moved from Fairfield to Dixon, I felt like that was a little too far from my parents. I know it's crazy. um, so the idea of going to Connecticut, that just wasn't going to happen, bottom line. So I had didn't really know what I was going to do at that point. I was still thinking, attorney and law school was something that was a plan. And then I found myself in a situation to where I needed a job. This job that I had had for 5 years, it was going to close. And what I didn't know is the entire time that I worked at the insurance company that was on the third floor of a building, I had been working underneath a State Farm agent's office. Had no idea, none at all. And so one day I was walking out of the my office and thinking, okay, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. Time's ticking. I know they're going to give us a severance package and all of that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is I got to find a job. And I saw that office, and I knew I had, at that point I had an insurance license. I don't know whether or not that agent was hiring, but I dropped off my resume and I was like, hey, I have an insurance license. I have some insurance background. Let me know if you're, if you're hiring or whatnot. And she was. And so I attribute a lot of, where I'm at with respect to my career to her. She's the State Farm agent in Fairfield. Her name is Rena McDonald. And she has been a huge motivator for me from the standpoint that I likely would not be in this career path if it wasn't for her. She really encouraged me to just keep going and stick with the career, even though that wasn't my intention. So literally, when I started working for her in 2004, I was still on the path to go to law school. And then I kind of just just kind of paid attention, like, what you mentioned, evaluated experience. So we all have experiences, and you can, everyone, like the cliche is you learn from your experience, right? But do you really, if you're not, to your point, evaluating the experience? And so I kind of just, like I said, evaluated what she was doing, evaluated how she was running her business, and decided, okay, maybe I can do this. And I that's what I did when I was 29 years old. That's when I opened my business.
Awesome. So, okay, real quick, I just want to backtrack for those of you who are following along now. And again, I know that the title of this video, or the topic today, is living life by design and not by default. And so just to kind of, preface this, so you were in high school, then you went to college, Sac State. Shout out to the Hornets. If you're Hornets, go ahead and say what's up in the comments. And matter of fact, let me bring this comment on, because you definitely got family out there, and she just giving you the hard eyes. So what's up, Esther?
Love her, love her.
So the idea is here, and then you had to figure out like work and school. So I think that's something that is huge, is that full-time job and going to school full-time, right? So there's also work ethic. And then after that, you figured out, like back to yesterday's podcast, it was like, well, there are some things that we can't control. And so your insurance company that you were working for at the time left. And yes, you had an opportunity to move to Connecticut, but your values said, no, like family is where I need to be right now. And it's crazy because remember, when I first originally asked you if you wanted to be on, I was going to have you on with one of my other friends, Anna Maria Farina, who was on with us last week. And again, because similar stories, right? Y'all both have similar stories in the sense that, number one, like she also was planning to go to law school. And that that was her plan. And she ended up, now doing, being a principal and being in education for 15 years, so her path took her a different way. And it was about representing, right? People of color, Latinas, people of power in powers of position, right? Or positions of power, something like that. But, so she's representing. And something that, another thing that, really that I started thinking about with Anna was like, you know, the way that she took care of her brother and how much her brother who had special needs, like she took care of him like through elementary school, middle school. So like I really saw the compassion that she had for, you know, her brother in that sense. And so when I was thinking about you, I was also thinking about, you know, how your brother inspired you. So
Yes.
would you mind just taking us through just a little bit of, you know, again, why you're still continuing to do insurance, why, how your brother has inspired you to where you are today? Because I think that when we think about living our life by design and not by default, it's about going against the grain. It's about
Yeah.
following your heart and you know that feeling or that gut instinct or whatever that voice is inside that's telling you that there's a desire to do something versus what the world will tell you, because sometimes the world will want different from you. The world will expect different things from you, especially again, right? We're thinking about default. Default is,
Yeah.
to me, when I think of the word default, I think about how, you know, our conditioning has defaulted us to just be a certain way or do a certain thing, but we're created to, you know, for greatness. So if we're not
Right.
living in that greatness, if we're not living to the gifts that we've been given, right? If we're not letting go, letting God, and really just allowing God to be, right? Like I'm in this whole piece right now where it's like we limit God by our lives in the sense that we're not allowing him to just fully let us do, you know, what we're created to do. Like we're limiting it. So anyways, not to
Yeah.
digress, but back to, you know, design versus default. And I think that just you're evaluating your experience with, you know, what you were going to do with your career and with work, how you said, you know what, this, I've been in the industry and now I'm going to go under the wing of an agent. So shout out to, is it Maria McDonald?
Rena.
Arena McDonald out in Fairfield, California, right? And then, you know, that inspiration decided now, now you have your own branch and now you're doing it. But there were times even within then that things were out of your control, but yet you took control of what you could, made the best of it. So if you can just share with us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think often so many things are out of our control, right? I mean, and if you didn't know that, we're definitely experiencing that right now in terms of there's very few things that we have control over, but we do have control over how we react to the situations, because every action has a reaction, and the only thing that we can control, I know you've all heard it, is you can control your mindset and how you approach things. So um, I appreciate that you know, brought up my brother. I don't talk about him openly. I just don't want to be, you know, pity party central. It just is what it is. Life happens, and it happens out of our control. And so 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago, 6 years next month, my brother unexpectedly passed away in a motorcycle accident. So why, and he was 17 years old. So why am I so passionate about what I do and passionate about helping people, specifically with life insurance? Because I think life insurance is something that people don't think about. It, all too often I hear, you know, it's not going to happen to me, or, oh, I'll be gone. What does it matter? And what people fail to understand is that there is somebody out there that loves you. There is somebody out there that wants to celebrate your life in the best way possible. Trust me, I lived it, and I completely understand, you know, what it takes. And so I didn't know a whole, like, my family wasn't a family that, you know, we didn't talk about life insurance. You needed auto insurance and you needed home insurance, and that's about it. And oh, and health insurance, let's not forget that. But life insurance is one of those things that isn't something that's required. And so most people don't understand how it can truly, truly help your loved ones. Because, yeah, you're right, you're not going to be here, but somebody who loves you is. And so I had, I, I don't know if you want to say fortunate ability. I don't know what you want to call it, but I was able to help my parents out in a time of need. Most people don't think to get life insurance on their children, let alone themselves. And we just never know. If we knew, you know, when our last day was, I'm pretty sure we'd all be living life very differently, and we don't. And so I had the ability to really educate my parents, on the importance of life insurance, not only for themselves, but for their children. And I'm so, so thankful that they listened and had several life insurance policies in place for my brother, because no parent intends to outlive their children. And I can't take my parents' pain away. I can't take my sister's pain away. I can't take my pain away. But what I can do is I can help soften that financial burden. And that's exactly what I was able to do. My mom, and I say this, anybody who's heard this story, it sounds crazy, but my mom and my dad were able to get my brother the most beautiful casket that I probably have ever seen in my life. It was so shiny and just exactly what she wanted. She didn't have to, cut corners anywhere, because she had the financial means to do anything and everything that she could in that moment. That my parents could in that moment for their son. And it's just, I can't explain why it's so helpful. Because that's it. That's the last, the send off. That's the last moment that you have. And so I know that things would have been emotionally different if, on top of all of the grieving, that my parents had to deal with financial hardship. And I'm so, so, so thankful that they didn't have to do that. And kind of side note, as a result, my dad has some underlying medical conditions that would not allow him to have life insurance, because, contrary to what people might think, your money buys the insurance, but your health qualifies you for it. And so if you don't have the health that's necessary to get it, you're not getting it. And so, think about that. Think about the breadwinner not having life insurance protection. Think about what that does to my mom, because now they're empty nesters. We're out of the house.
Yeah.
But with that, with the proceeds that were after we took care of my brother's final expenses, now she has a nest egg for my dad. And it's just, I had the ability to see that policy work in more ways than one, not just on my brother's life, but hopefully later down the road for my dad's life. And there's no other way that would happen, because medically he's not going to be able to qualify. And so when people shun against life insurance for kids, it's really just a lack of knowledge. It's a lack of education, because when are you the healthiest? When you're a child. When is your life insurance the cheapest? When you're young. And it's just, again, it's just a lack of education. And so for me and my team and what we do, education is key. We are not salespeople. That is not what we do. What we do is we educate. And whether or not you do business with us or you do business with somebody else, our main goal is to make sure that your assets and your family are protected.
Yes, thank you. And so yeah, so not to digress, and if you're watching this now, the theme, right? Live your life by design, not by default. So let's just take a moment and thank you for sharing your story and sharing, the
Thank
story of
you.
your brother and how, how things unfolded. But like, if I like to like zoom out, I like to like dissect these things. So if we look at the path, and let's talk about design, right? If you lived your life by default and just went through the motions, tried to do the law school thing or whatever, right? Who knows if your parents would have got the financial literacy they needed to make those choices. And when
Mhm.
it comes to especially like life insurance, for example, or just anything, right? Trust is a huge factor in there. And so, it could have been anybody else like trying to tell your parents, trying to sell them on some insurance, but because you had the experience, because you had the background, because you designed your life to go into the field, you were able to have that conversation with your parents, which again, has, as you've been sharing, came in handy. Right. And of
Yeah.
course, and I know for myself, this isn't a policy that we ever want to have to take out, but we just never know. And I remember when we first started talking, after my wife and I, we got our policies together, it was like, you're right, get it while you're young, get it while you're healthy. But for me as a husband and as a father, like the biggest thing for me is peace of mind. because
Hmm.
we don't know when when we're gonna, when our time is up. But knowing that financially, at least, there's no burdens is a huge weight off of my heart, right?
Yep.
Knowing that if something happens to you, because I travel, because, well, not anymore, not lately, but because of the work, the nature of my work, having that peace of mind is super, super, super important. And we know now, like, there's a lot of folks, leaving because of cancer. There's a lot of people getting sick, and there's
Hmm.
so many other types of benefits. And again, this isn't like a life insurance commercial, y'all. Not trying to like put it
Right.
out you like, but we're just sharing like how living life by design and not by default played a huge factor into Victoria's family situation, and from pretty sure for many others. So when we think about living our life by design and not by default, what are some of the first things that come to mind for you? And then actually, let me see if we have a comment up here. Oh, we got some love from the Dixon family out here.
Oh.
Vanessa throwing up the heart, you know what I'm saying? So what's going on, Vanessa? So yeah, so live life by design, not by default. Because I'm pointing out like how I see you living by design,
Yeah,
even throughout now. And I think it's just a beautiful story. And ultimately, right, like that's just God working the pieces. He's like,
it
here, I
is.
need you here, I need you there, I need you here. And then all of a sudden, like you said, the fact that you're able to share that experience with, sending your brother home in that way, your memory of that was like the shiny casket, like in
Yeah,
the most beautiful way. And knowing there's still the family's gonna be taken care of like that. I mean, that's priceless, right?
yeah.
It's
No.
not about the money. It's just about the knowing that we can do things right. So live life by design, not by default. We're gonna get into our final messages here. And again, thank you for being with us. We're not done yet, but I just want to just preface that for those who are on the live stream. Thank you for being with us. So yeah, live life by design, not by default.
So when you say that, I think the first thing that comes to mind is living life intentionally. Um, don't let things happen to you, because things are going to happen to you all of the time. But live life intentionally. Why? Evaluate. I mean, it all just kind of comes full circle with what we said in the beginning in terms of evaluating your experiences. What did you learn from it? Because all too often, like I said earlier, we say, yeah, I learned from that experience, but did you, what exactly did you learn? And so I think if if I could leave you folks with anything, it would just be to move through your day with intention, move through your day with a kind heart, and get your mindset right. And, this is all the way, this starts at 5 a.m. when you're at the gym. Well, you're not at the gym right now, but when you're in your home gym, um, in that's when your day starts, and that's when you really need to get your mindset right, because things are going to come at you, and you're going to feel like things are happening to you, but it's going to boil down to how are you reacting to those things that are happening to you, and are they maybe happening to you for a reason, to put you in a certain place at a certain time for a certain person. Something to think about.
Yes. And as we get ready to wrap up, I'm just gonna tag on to that and just be like, yo, at the end of the day, y'all, living our life by design and not by default is basically saying live the life that you truly deserve. Live the life that you were created for. Don't live the life that people want you to live, that you think that people want you to have. Like, live the life that you deserve. Each and every one of you are created for greatness. I will say this time and time again, but it's not until you realize with your real eyes, the eyes of your heart, on what matters most. Right? Take this opportunity to reflect every day you get your day started, no matter how early or how late in the day. Like, you get a new 24 hours, like I've said in the past. Let's use that to design our day. Let's use that to design our week. Let's use this idea of designing so that we can design the best life possible, not just for you, right, but for your family and the people around you, because that is what's going to inspire these healthy lifestyle changes. But until we start to live life by design and not by default, things are going to keep going and going and going in the same way. Nothing's going to change. You're going to be in that hamster wheel of life, and you deserve more. Yes, you watching this video, you deserve more. I promise, if you start taking that mindset, saying, all right, I'm going to design my day. I'm going to design it. Things aren't going to always go as planned, like I talked about yesterday. So check that video out, but take control. This is the time All right, we're coming out of this whole COVID-19, and it's time to take control. It is time to rise up, right? Fear, face everything and run, or face everything and rise. Ooh, yeah, I dropped that on y'all. All right, so what are you gonna do? Are you gonna face everything and rise, or are you gonna face everything and run? The choice is yours. Do you want to live your life? Do you want to continue to live life by default, going through the motions, going day by day and just letting things be? Or do you want to take control and live life by design? Not saying it's be perfect, not saying it's going to be easy, not saying that you're not going to have your ups and downs. As Victoria shared with us today, life is going to hit you in the face. But when it does, how are you getting back up? Are you getting back up? So with that, y'all, hey, what's up, Leilani in the building. With that, y'all, I just am so thankful for the opportunities that, again, God has blessed me with, to meet so many great people. Before we get going, and we had this screen share. Oh, not that one.
Oh,
That's
thanks.
that's let me get this back. Let me get this back. See, right when you thought I had it going on, it's right here. Hold on. If you want more information, there we go. More information, definitely, peace of mind, y'all. I mean, really, that's what it's about. Thank you, Victoria. This is just
Thank
a
you.
reflection of how you're living your life by design. IInsuranceteam.com. Or if you want to contact her, if you have any questions, again, this is just protecting your family, protecting your investment, protecting yourself. We cannot go wrong with having that peace of mind. So with that, y'all, I'm super excited. Again, we have one more live stream tomorrow. And so I'm thinking tomorrow we're going to do a question and answer. So I'm gonna try to see if folks want to call in and just chop it up. But yeah, so as we typically go out on this live stream, we want to thank you again. If you want to connect with me, and if you missed any of the live past streams, there they are on the clicker right there. Just search Bro Rye, the inspiration guy, and all the videos will pop up. Again, thank you for taking the time and just being with us today. We hope that you have a blessed day. Again, we are, live and direct, living life by design, not by default. So shout out. Thank you again, Victoria.
Thank you.
For being
Thank
with
you.
us, sharing your story and your journey. And I know there's people out there who need that message today, or at the moment they're watching this video. All right, y'all. Take care. Peace.
Thank you. Bye.